you have a wicked, tortured ice landscape.
Stunning interaction of volcanoes and glaciers.
Infinitely beautiful, but then moments of sheer devastation.
You better come to Iceland soon, because in 100 years, it will certainly be a different landscape.
A lot of people call Iceland the land of fire and ice.
Iceland lays right on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge.
About 56 million years ago, the North Atlantic began to split apart.
Literally, the country is being torn at the seams.
That's why you have volcanoes there.
All of Iceland is made from volcanoes. They lie under glaciers. And when volcanoes erupt under glaciers, you get a totally different kind of form, a bit more explosive. The largest and most destructive event in the last 1,000 years occurred in 1783. The eruption produced an ash cloud that blocked the sun. It killed at least a quarter of the population of Iceland. The ash cloud produced the year without summer in Europe. Climate change has certainly had a very strong impact on Iceland. Glaciers of Iceland reached their maximum extent about 100 years ago and are retreating visibly year to year. We don't know how long they'll last, but quite likely in the next 100 to 200 years, there will be no glaciers left on Iceland.
At the tip of Baja California, there's these undersea mountains. And this is a great gathering place for a lot of wild animals and underwater life. One of the animals that used to gather at these sea mountains is the hammerhead shark. But in the last 10 to 15 years, there was just almost nothing. It was barren. So I wanted to go down there and I wanted to see if I could find them. But the question was, were the hammerheads still there? I'm Adam Ravitch. I'm a wildlife filmmaker, and I hopefully will get to see the hammerheads. What's been happening in the last 20 years, there's been a lot of fishing. Fishermen have been taking them, cutting off their fins for shark soup. And I would say in the last 10 years, no one's seen many hammerheads. But some of the old fishermen were saying they're still there. You just got to go look for it. The thing with wildlife filmmaking is you're always nervous. Every day you put in about 4 or 5 dives a day and wait for those hammerheads to come by. And if they don't, then you've got nothing. I went down there and there were no hammerhead sharks. After another few days, we went down on the reef and the current was going really strong. On any particular day, the current can really rip through there. It can rip you right off the mountain. If you get swept off, then you could be blown way past the boat and you might not be found. So you don't want to get swept off the reef. So we're holding on and we're waiting. We're about 30 minutes into it and nothing was happening still. And then in the distance, I see hammerhead. You get excited right away. It wasn't just one. You could see in the distance. The visibility was so good you could see about 40 hammerhead. And you're hoping, you just hope that they're going to swim in your direction. But you have to sort of contain yourself because the next thing you want to do is you want to hold your breath because the noise could disturb them. So you hold your breath. These sharks came right over the top of the reef. This hadn't happened in 10 years. People haven't been seeing hammerheads here, and now you've got a shot that shows that maybe they're coming back. Without the overfishing, hammerheads are starting to return. This is going to represent a change in the environment. Baja California is still wild. It's still a lot of animal life down here, rich with possibility. There's hope for Baja California.
Tokyo, one of the most dense cities in the world. A ton of coastline and these beautiful beaches. the blooming of the cherry blossoms. I always knew that Japan was a land of superlatives, but most people never realized Japan is actually the snowiest place in the world.
In the mountains of northern Japan is a place called Sukayu Onsen. In a typical year, you'll see 50, 60 feet of snow, some years 70 or 80 feet of snow. Talking snow that's 10, 15 feet above your head. The mountains of Japan are so snowy because they're susceptible to a cold Siberian wind that slams into the mountains of Japan, forces the air to rise, and that wrings out tremendous amounts of snowfall. It's like our lake effect snow in the US, except on a much grander scale. So you have these mountainsides with trees caked in white snow. Then you have the onsen, the hot springs that are naturally found throughout the Japanese mountains. Then you have these snow monkeys that are enjoying the warmth of the water, bathing together.
Snow monkeys can only be found in Japan. They use the hot springs to stay warm in very cold winter months. They are mostly grooming themselves in the hot springs. These springs are pretty hot, I believe over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, longer than most humans can stay in a hot tub.
This really is a stunning place, but climate change is expected to have a negative impact on this region. Even the best snow years by the year 2100 won't hold a candle to what we see today.